It's time for another roundtable. It's time for the unstable. It's time for another roundtable. It's time for the unstable. This is the law. This is the law. This is the law.
Okay, so it's Friday, so you know what that means. It means that we're probably getting together and we're going to do a little thing that like we like to talk about on the Law Live Audio Wrestling. It's going to be the Unstable Roundtable. What we're going to do is we're going to gather up a cast of caricatures and we're going to talk about a certain topic, whatever we feel like talking about, but just one topic. Go once, twice, three times around the horn, something Brady's used to all the time. And we're going to get everybody's opinion on what's going on, how they would book it going forward, what they like, what they don't like. And this week, joining us on this, of course, down in the bottom corner, none other than LBW, Little Brady Wedham, of course.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I know, it's been quite the eventful week. And if you are a follower of S-Mini Radio or Sunday Night's Main Event, this message is for you. But if you're not, fast forward 10 seconds. S-Mini, I apologize to absolutely fucking nobody. The champ does what the fuck he wants.
That's gimmick infringement. And speaking of gimmick infringement, sitting next to my some side, whichever way you're looking, facing this thing, you're going to see one half of a show that I do called The Godfathers of Podcasting. Also, this gentleman has a nice little fun thing over on TSN Radio. I'm talking about Big Daddy Donnie Abreu. How are you, sir?
What's going on, guys? Yeah, I had no idea we were doing this tonight. I'm not at my home studio, totally out of my element. Hopefully you can hear me. And if not, it might be for the better.
All right. Anyways, moving on. We have also joining us from let me make sure I get this right. Draw Straws Raw. Because apparently you can't do them with any kind of lubricant, ointment. They have to be drawn raw. I don't know what that means, but joining us anyway is Eric Lindone. Eric, how are you doing today?
Guys, thank you so much for having me onto the show. Yeah, usually I'm just raw dogging my way through life here. Don't ask me why I got that nickname or how I got that nickname. But yeah, I review Raw every week, so I guess that has something to do with it. But I'm excited to be here. I am in my element. I am, I guess, in my home studio. As you can see, my mountain of toys behind me. But yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. And as well, a duo, if you will, joining us in the top corner. I feel like this is Hollywood Squares, but just, one of these person is really square. I'm talking about indie. Okay, let's see if I got this right. Indie wrestling eyesore, Matt Grant, and his ever so loving and caring, forgiving, generous spouse, who's clearly doing a make-a-wish. I'm talking about Aaron. The Grants are joining us, ladies and gentlemen.
You promised you wouldn't be hard on Matt this episode. You promised me.
I'm not. I thought that this was generous. I'm just reading.
That was pretty light.
I'm just reading what was given to me, Brady.
Hi, Aaron.
I need people
Matt,
to
how
be
are
hard
you?
on him just to keep him in line. So I do appreciate whenever we join these things. So thank you. Thank you, Tim.
I mean, he's built exactly the same way. A line.
Stop, please.
Oh, man.
Come on. We okay.
Hi, guys.
Matt, you're looking quite buff.
That coming from Brady. So, all right. Before we get carried away with all of the craziness here, I want to talk about a certain topic. And
What's the topic?
We've seen this going on in AEW, and AEW has, for the best part, not been at the top of the game as far as putting out compelling stories. I think we can all agree on that. But every once in a while, they've managed to hit something out of the park. Whether it be like just a one-off, just like a single home run, or they line up a couple of, bases and then boom, nail one out for a grand slam. This certain storyline, I want to get y'all's opinion on it. I'm talking about Toni Storm. Toni Storm has been, in my opinion, one of the most creative and different stories inside of not just AEW, but professional wrestling right now. Because there's been an evolution of what Toni Storm, even inside of AEW, she first started AEW.
What just happened to your microphone? Something popped out. Check your cord.
Joe just got better.
Perfect.
Yeah, my
Chris,
mic
what
wasn't
just
even in
happened?
at first, so here I am.
Mic check.
Yeah. Hi, how you doing today?
There you go. You fix yourself.
Huh? All right, that's what I'm saying.
All right.
Anyway.
So what were you saying? Let's
What
start
I'm
that little
saying
thing
is,
over
like,
again.
So Toni Storm, the evolution of her herself inside of AEW has been, in my opinion, the most drastic. Talk
Okay.
about what she looked like when she first showed up. Looked like this. Looked like this. Looked like every other single female professional wrestler, right? And then everything just kind of changed. And she went with, something that was a lot more, I don't know, this.
She has the best facial expressions in wrestling. Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd like to, let's start, you know what? Let's ladies first. Aaron Grant, being the resident female here, who obviously probably has the most, adoration for this kind of a character, maybe.
What about Brady?
I said being the closest.
Sorry, Brady.
Never be sorry, buddy. I'm fucking here for it. All right, Aaron, what's up? What do you think?
I was just gonna say, yeah, I've absolutely been obsessed with this Toni Storm character from the second she kind of turned around, especially from where she was before, being a part of the faction with Paige and I can't even, what was that?
Ruby.
No, I can't even recall what they were called. Outcast, thank you. It didn't work. It did not fit her. It did not fit really, I think, anything that they set out to do. And she just went complete opposite direction to, again, something I haven't really seen in wrestling before. And just to that old school dramatic actress. I actually read a book recently and it reminded me of the main character, just like this drama queen that the world just revolves around her, and anybody who comes into her life serves her a purpose. And that's exactly what it felt like. And I like that she wasn't afraid to be funny. She wasn't afraid to pull out these bizarre phrases. I don't know how many times I have said to Matt, chin up, tits out, watch for the shoe. Like, it's just so out of left field and so different that I've just adored it, everything that she's done with it.
Is there anything that she could possibly be doing wrong, though, in this situation? Because you know as well as I do, the cinematic aspects sometimes don't bleed over into the wrestling aspects. Donnie, what do you think?
So, a couple thoughts. Aaron said she hasn't seen anything like it in wrestling, and I agree. It's that unique. But what it reminded me of from day one and still does, and Tid, you may know this, Brady, you may know this, Matt, maybe you do too. If you've ever ridden,
Fuck Eric, right?
and I don't know if Eric knows this person to this extent, because I don't really know Eric that well, but
I'm just fucking.
I thought we were friends, Donnie.
if
What
you've
the
ever
fuck?
ridden on a trip with RJ City,
Yes.
that's Toni Storm's character.
Mhm.
RJ City has always wanted to be what Toni Storm is doing. He would talk about, oh yeah, remember back in the day I had that match with Nick Backwinkel, it was a banger. He's been talking like that for 20 years. And to me, that's the Toni Storm thing. I actually thought they were going to make RJ be her second, not Luther. But he doesn't have that kind of pull. So they got this whole gimmick together.
I don't know.
I like the I'm just messing around. I like
I know.
the character. I like the production. when you say, Tid, is there something that could be done better? To me, it's real simple. Within the first 3-4 weeks of that character, it was a baby face. And they kept shoehorning baby faces against Toni Storm. And those baby faces didn't have a chance. Serena was humiliated by the crowd in Edmonton because she's out there talking about how she almost died and she's fighting for her life and she's having epileptic seizures, and they're just chanting for Toni. And I'm like, okay, like, does no one else see the writing on the wall? And
That's
the
not on
fact that
the
she's
hold on.
working
That's
for,
hold on. That's not on the worker. That's on the
Yes, it
writers
is.
and the people presenting it. And that's
It's
also on
both.
it's also on the crowd, because you can't control at that point. Her character, this new character, had been established. So she's not going to be able to go out there and tell the crowd what they can and cannot chant for.
Yeah, but
Switch
in
the
her
switch had already
promos,
happened.
she's working for laughs.
Mhm.
In her tits out, chin up, watch for the that's a comedy line. When you're working
100%.
for a laugh, you're not a heel. I'm sorry, you're just not. And I'm not saying that's wrong. She can be a babyface, and
Yeah.
now finally she is. But like, what have they been waiting for? They've just
Well,
been wrecking babyface after babyface that tries to stand in the ring next to her, and no one can hold a candle to her right now with the crowd reaction she gets. And I agree with you. The booking committee, Tony, should have realized a long time ago, put her in there with some strong heels. But they seem to have this mentality that it doesn't matter. It does friggin' matter.
but
It
okay, so,
does matter.
Brady,
on your point there, if what they did this past week on AEW, and we'll get into that in a second, like in detail, and we'll get everyone's opinions on it. To me, I feel like it's some of the best television I've ever seen this year. And that's in anything. That's in TV, that's Fallout TV show, that's WWE, that's ROH, that's whatever you've watched this year. I feel like what they did this past Wednesday was just beyond fantastic. Now, would you have got that if you did that right away, or did you have to build this up? And look at how much of a heel they got out of that other young lady. She's a nasty heel now. The only thing I didn't really like was the Luther table bump. I didn't think that was needed. I think it kind of took away from the seriousness of it. But Toni is such a good actress. It didn't matter. You forgot about the Luther bump by the time they were taking her backstage. Really good stuff. But anyway, I don't know. Would that have worked, Donnie? If they did if they put her against heels right away and they didn't build this up, would that have been as impactful?
I mean, it depends. Look, you could have gotten to this exact same place that you are now, with her second, who's in love with her, infatuated with her, whatever, turning on her and making her into a babyface. You could have gotten there. My whole thing, though, is she's been acting the role of a babyface for a long time. So to me, it's a little weird. And then the other part, like when you said Brady, and I'm not fully disagreeing, when you said, that was really great TV, one of the best I've seen this year. I feel like it would have stood out more and been more special if the previous week Dynamite didn't go off the air with a heel turn that ended in a bloody face. It's the exact same finish
I
2 weeks
don't
in a
watch
row.
Dynamite, so you're right. I could, yeah, you're right. But that piece of
But they
TV,
did the
let's section it
same.
out.
Now I'm wondering who's going to turn next week and get bloody. Like,
Okay,
is this the new thing every week?
so
Someone's going to do a heel turn and then zip, zip, zip. Here we
there's
go.
there's two people that I need to hear from right motherfucking now, and that's the Raw Dog and Matt Grant. Raw Dog, what do you think, bro?
Oh, honestly, as I was listening to the point that Donnie is making about being a heel a little bit sooner, or being a face, or how they were trying to book her, or who they were booking her against, I have to think about comparing it to WWE and Rhea Ripley. Obviously, Rhea Ripley is booked, or more or less, she is supposed to be a heel. Correct me if I'm wrong. Judgment Day group is a heel faction. Until R-Truth came in, they became a little bit more of a comedy faction, but they are a heel faction. Nobody can hold a candle against Rhea Ripley, just like nobody can hold a candle against Toni Storm. So ultimately, the crowd has a lot of control as to what role these wrestlers are in today. Probably more this year than we've seen anywhere else. Look at WrestleMania. Look at the main event, right? So I think that what Toni Storm is doing is more unique than anything else that AEW can put out right now. And they have to run with it. They have to keep going with it. And this turn, listen, I can ultimately say I really don't watch AEW. I'm not a huge AEW guy, but the stuff that Toni Storm is doing has gone so viral that you can't not pay attention to it, and you can't not give her credit for what she's doing.
Tid's best friend. What do you think? Matt Grant.
To kind of add on to Donnie's point, actually to, I guess, argue his point to say, the whole, I don't think she's been presented as a babyface the whole time. She's been a little more arrogant. In the beginning of the whole Timeless character, she was a lot more arrogant, a lot more showing those heel antics. And as the character developed, we started to see a little bit more of the babyface come out. And I think the build was needed. I think if we didn't see the build that we did see, that the moment wouldn't have felt as important. And you've made another star in the AEW Women's Division in Mariah May now with this turn. To give her this opportunity too against Toni, you've got this month and a half build to where we can tell even more of a story, and we only got one segment and we're sitting here talking about this. So I really think that we've got a lot of life and a lot of legs on this character and this storyline.
So let's talk about that very quickly, because this is now the blow off going into this. And now you know who's going to be playing the part of the absolute heel in this and who's going to be doing the babyface role. Funny thing is this is being done in, Wembley. And the person who's from Wembley or, that town or whatever is Mariah May. And she's going into her hometown as probably not just the biggest heel in the women's division, certainly not the biggest heel in the storyline. She might very well be, after this past week, the biggest heel in AEW right now. Because what happened was absolutely an absolute mauling. And up to this point, they've done a fantastic job of making her that sidekick, that Kato, that, you know what I mean? That person that's just like, I just want to learn from the best. Right. And you could see how it wasn't the typical, like, you'll do what I say thing. There wasn't that storyline like you see so much in that turn. You know what I mean? When you have like the big heater turns on the guy that he's protecting or the girl that they're protecting, right? Because they get to push them around, and then finally the heaters had enough of it and they turn on them. There wasn't that. This kind of came out of nowhere, which made this even that more of a surprise, because up to this point, Mariah May was kind of playing ball, was she not?
Well,
Aaron?
The way that they skipped up the ramp, Aaron, do you and Matt skip like that to the store?
Matt does. I walk behind him.
100%.
Even his own wife won't defend him.
No, she'll bury
He
it.
doesn't stand a chance.
This is where you say 3 steps.
Bye, buddy.
Can
Aaron, what do you
I
think?
just want to throw this out there because, sorry, I just want to jump in before I forget this thought, because Tid made an excellent point. I didn't even think about this. It doesn't matter that Mariah May right now is arguably the number one heel in AEW. When they walk into Wembley, she's the biggest face that night.
It's gonna
So
be
is
crazy.
the timing of this program completely wrong?
That we'll have to see.
If the goal is to make Mariah May this monster heel and to finally, firmly make Toni Storm the babyface, I don't know that the timing is right to do this at Wembley.
Well, Donnie, like, to add on to that, CM Punk has turned and done these crazy heel turns, and then he goes to Chicago. He's going to get welcomed home in Toronto, like in Chicago. Sorry, Bret Hart, same thing. If he comes to Canada, he's going to get welcomed home.
I don't think you can compare them though. Mariah May is still a
No,
brand
I'm
new
not-
commodity.
No, I'm not comparing the two of them or her to a legend itself. I'm just saying, I don't think that the location for one show or, one pay-per-view in this case is ultimately going to change how people view her worldwide. It might, at that one location, they're definitely going to cheer for her more than Toni Storm, right? That's definitely going to happen.
In today's day and age, everybody gets the hometown pop. It doesn't matter who you are. You're going to get a hometown pop regardless of where you are on the card. It's a thing that happens nowadays.
Well,
They say your city, and there's a pop.
So our
It's a
boys
thing
have
that
again, like-
happens.
Oh, everyone talk
It
at once,
happens
please.
because no one fights against it. It happens because no one fights against it. They all suck it in. If they actually turned on the crowd and said, yeah, you can go ahead and cheer me, but guess what? I left this shithole. Then they're
Okay.
instantly back to being a heel. But instead of doing that, every single one of them goes, yeah, love me, love me, love me, like a bunch of megalomaniacs.
Aaron's
And
gonna
listen, I
talk
get
for
what you're
Aaron's gonna
saying
talk
about.
for a minimum of 30 seconds, or I'm gonna fucking
Go
kill
ahead.
everybody in this fucking chat. Aaron, what's
ahead.
going on?
Well, I was
Hot
just going to
take.
say, literally within AEW, we see this a lot with one of the other major heels in the company who's back to being a heel now with MJF. He is literally the one that when he is in New York, he is getting the he's our scumbag chants. They're acknowledging he sucks, but he's ours. And I think that's a lot of what's happening. I was going to say in AEW, but I guess in wrestling, because you were talking about even like with the Judgment Day, where yes, technically you're seeing heel workers, you're seeing heel factions, but people love them. And I don't know if I'm just kind of naive as someone who wasn't necessarily a part of the classic where heels and faces were the big be all end all of wrestling, but I think I'm kind of a watcher as it's entertainment and I'm a fan of the worker. I don't hate them because they're an asshole. I appreciate the work that they're doing. And I think that's kind of where AEW is right now with a lot of their heels, which is, yes, they're the best.
RockSolidFanClub.ca gives you full access to Canada's leader in professional wrestling, featuring legends like Mick Foley, modern megastars such as Cody Deaner, and future sensations like Tyler Turva. RockSolidFanClub.ca offers exclusive series, podcasts, live streams, specials, and full events, all for less than $9 a month. Sign up today at RockSolidFanClub.ca, where real fans get it.
I just think that, especially in AEW with the character work, you never really know where it's going to go. So we'll just have to see where it goes after All In.
Okay. So Tid, what do you think, buddy?
Listen, I think that this is going to be the do or die, the make it moment for Mariah May, more so than Toni Storm. Because here's really the next question if we're talking about this going forward. After All In, because we all know that the matches and all of that's bullshit, right? What happens with Toni Storm after this? How much can AEW actually offer her? Or is Toni Storm better off taking this type of a character now for as over as it's gotten and bloop, exiting out of AEW and taking that to a place where they actually do a movie about a wrestling company?
If she doesn't take RJ with her in her contract, it ain't worth it.
Is her contract coming up for renewal?
I have no idea when
We don't know.
is.
This is fantasy. At this point, we've entered the fantasy booking. So, do you think she would do
Okay.
better with where she is, or do you guys think that she would do better in WWE? You know what I mean? And you can fantasy book it if you want. Let's start with Donnie, and we'll go around clockwise.
She's a character. She's character driven. She's not match driven. There's people out there that love her ring work. Her ring work is mediocre. It's okay. It's not bad, but it's not great. She's character driven, so her ring work doesn't really matter. What?
It does matter. It absolutely does matter. And her ring work isn't mediocre. Her ring work is exactly what it's supposed to be based on that character. You got to remember, Toni Storm can go. It's not like she forgot how to fucking work since doing this new character. It's that she's evolved the moves and the stuff that she does based on the character.
Listen, I'm saying even before this character, I never counted her as one of the upper echelon female workers ever. Okay. I thought she was good, not great, not bad. She's middle of the road to me. That's all. My standard for a great talent, great in-ring performer is very, very high. That all being said, she is character driven. AEW doesn't do well when it comes to writing stories for elaborate characters. If she ever wanted to leave, which I don't think, I know we're just playing, I don't think her contract's coming up anytime soon, but if she wanted to leave, would she be better somewhere else? Yeah, she'd be better off in either of the other two North American options, which is WWE or TNA. who also does an excellent job with booking character. But I don't know, man. Like even something so simple when we talk about this story. For months, this story has revolved around Mariah May and Shirakawa. So where was she for the heel turn? Shouldn't she have been a part of this?
You're
Shouldn't she
not
have
wrong.
shown up?
Maybe they're saving
They
her to do a run in
completely
or to
just
build up.
yeah, she could have walked out when she's holding her head full of blood and walked out and smiled. She could have done something. Like they didn't even book her. She's not even booked. That's a big gap in the story. And someone's going to go, oh, they could do it next week. The whole thing that's been teased as friction has been built around this existing relationship with Shirakawa. And then she's not there for the biggest moment of Mariah May's career. Come
I heard
on,
she's got
man.
that Conor McGregor injury. She hurt her pinky toe and she couldn't perform. Okay, the Grants, what do you guys think?
So with Toni, her thing in AEW has been kind of evolving her character since day one. She came in as kind of like the punk rocker, evolved to doing the outcast thing. Now is doing the timeless thing. I think after All In, we kind of see another evolution of Toni Storm, whether that still kind of involves the old school feeling character, black and white, Marilyn Monroe style gimmick. I'm not too sure, but I do think that she stays with the company. She has made it very clear that she was unhappy with her WWE exit, how she was treated with the company, and that doesn't necessarily say money doesn't talk, but we've seen over the last little while how she's been treated by the company, and I think you kind of have not only the fans that are AEW loyalists, but at this point you kind of have some of the roster that's AEW loyalists. Guys like Swerve Strickland, who are the world champion, who have turned down a possibility of going back to the WWE while with AEW. And I think Toni Storm's kind of in that category as well. She's one of the stars of the company right now. And I think regardless of what she does going forward, she's going to be heavily involved with that women's division.
Aaron, what do you think?
I agree. I don't think I see her leaving AEW. I don't know specifically where this character might go next because the character itself evolved a lot as well. Like it started with her basically snapping and losing it to get to where she is now. But I don't know that I see a place for her back at WWE just with the roster they have now, as well as I don't know if I see that character getting the same presentation there that they did at AEW. Whether that speaks for AEW and the way that they present their characters, and maybe if their focus is in the right or wrong place, could be up for debate, but I just don't see it translating to WWE. Maybe TNA if I was to say to go anywhere, but even still, I have a hard time imagining her leaving after all that she has gotten here. And I'd like to think that she's got already, she's clearly very creative with everything that she has done with this character. So I would like to think that she has a plan for where it could unfold next, whether that does involve Mina coming back, whether I don't know where it could go exactly, but I don't think I see her leaving.
To add on, like the whole TNA thing would be interesting because it was noted, I believe, by Donnie that they do a very good job in presenting characters, and I that would be very interesting to see their take on the Toni Storm character.
Well, they're already trying it over there with Ash by somebody else. Eric, what do you think?
I think that when you're talking about WWE and their shift to Netflix that's coming up, I think that they would love a character like Toni Storm, and I think that they could definitely build up that character development for her significantly. When I think about where that translated into in-ring work, it's not that I'm against her in-ring work at all. I just don't know where she would fit into the card. If you look at Raw is more or less dominated by Rhea Ripley, and the only way that they've really built up this Liv storyline has, again, been character developed based as well. So yes, she could definitely succeed in WWE, but she's had the most success in her career in AEW. I don't think that AEW has a lack of money to pay her, so I don't think that WWE is going to give her a bigger bag. That being said, when we look at people like Cody, eventually what he wanted is to go back to the Fed and be the WWF WWE champion. That's what he grew up wanting. Is that what Toni Storm is going to want in a little while, maybe a year or two from now? Who knows? She can keep on building up this character. Like Matt said, she can even evolve further We've seen that she's already very good at evolving. She's kind of playing that female Chris Jericho role of switching characters and switching her look and her in-ring ability while doing so. But yeah, it ain't broke. I mean, so why fix it?
What if, let me throw this out there. Let me throw this out there very quickly for you guys, because this just kind of popped into my head. What if we're living in this movie world with her right now, and this entire thing is a work? What if it ends up being, hold on, what if she ends up being a Bob Newhart moment? What if this entire thing is a dream sequence in the story of Toni Storm, and she's reverted back to this black and white era, and some kind of head injury or something, you know, shoes to the head have popped her out of this, and now when she shows up at All In, it's the old Toni Storm coming back.
Bro, what are you shooting? What are you freebasing over there, motherfucker?
Angles, brother.
All right. All right. Well, before we roll this ride out, guys, I know I'll give everyone they can say their points on the way out. We're gonna have a fucking 2-hour conversation about the girl with the nicest peach in the business, and I don't want to do that. So my thing with this, I think she should, if she hasn't already gotten a raise recently, which she probably has, go ask for one, stay there forever, get as much money out of this fucking guy as you possibly can. Milk this until it's you can't milk it anymore. And if you gotta leave, just make sure RJ's in your contract. Eric, what do you got to plug?
Listen to me and Randy when we get back to it, I guess next month in August for the Draw Straws Raw review. We're going to be on YouTube for the time being, and that's about it. But yeah, thanks for having me, guys. A lot of fun.
Matt and Aaron, what are you doing?
We still aren't too sure yet, but we definitely are not done in some sort of podcasting or media world. We're still going to figure that out. But in the meantime, you can follow me on social media at Aaron154Grant. See whatever I'm getting up to. I ring announce sometimes. I like to do things backstage. But yeah, that's about it for me.
Traveling all over right now. Michigan, New York, Indiana, California. A lot of cool stuff on the horizon. So follow Matthew Grant First Days 4 and keep up with the world of independent wrestling.
Donnie, what are you saying, buddy? What do you got to plug?
GodfathersPodcasting.com. Go to godfatherspodcasting.com. You can hear me and Tiddlywinks each and every week doing our thing, talking pop culture and all those sorts of fun topics. You can also see me, although probably not have much time to chit chat because I'm working, but come down to a Super Kick Pro Wrestling show because they are some of the most fun shows in anywhere on the indie scene. It's a pro wrestling rock show. So much fun. The next show is July 26th, and very special is the last indie wrestling appearances of the Motor City Machine Guns. As the story broke, they just signed with WWE. So Chris
Tell Chambers
Sabin,
he owes me some weed for that plug. You know, and you can't make fun of Chris here on the law because he closes the show out, Donnie. Now we're all in fucking trouble.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chris, you got anything you want to say before we roll this ride out, buddy? I am so scared for everyone right now.
This has been a lot of fun, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank you, each and every one of you, for joining us. If you haven't by now, please go hit that like, hit that subscribe button, share this with all of your friends. I hope that the day tomorrow is blessed with everything that you deserve in life. I hope that you are granted all of your wishes, and I hope that you are graced. I don't even know what that means.
He's on heroin.
It might be.
He has to be on heroin right now. What the fuck
This
is
is the
going
Brian
on?
Hall influence from our interview last night when we spoke with a spiritual coach that was teaching Tid all about the grace of God. He's still
Tell
in
him-
that headspace.
Okay, well, tell that guy he owes me some weed now too. Jesus, what the fuck is
Yeah.
going on? Plug
Yeah,
yourselves.
here's the reality. Here's the reality of it all. Okay, each and every one of you, I'm going to say it right now. You can check out Donnie DeSilva all over at Godfathers of Podcasting. Please go check that out, godfathersofpodcasting.com. And he's even got some stuff over on the Law, Live Audio Wrestling, right here on YouTube, okay? You can check out the Grants doing their thing somewhere. We're not quite sure yet, but be on the lookout for it because it's going to happen. Eric, the Raw Dog down there, he's going to be doing the Draw Straws Raw with Randy Charpentier. All right. Still over on YouTube until they find a steady home. Brady, he's stuck with me. That's the end of the whole thing. If you don't like it, I don't care. But do what you got to do and tuck your chin. Be sure to click that subscribe button, click that like button, and tell all of your friends. Share it with everybody. We appreciate you just as much as you appreciate us. So let's make this thing even bigger.